Are your students struggling with writing claim, evidence, reasoning paragraphs like mine are? Something I've noticed this last year is that some of my students, no matter how many times we've practiced, no matter how many sentence frames I've given them, they still have trouble writing a claim that really answers the question and includes all the important information where it can stand alone. And then also with their evidence, using evidence from the data table, including those numbers, stating where that evidence comes from. So I was looking at the state test and I noticed that a lot of the multiple choice questions or choose more than one answer type questions had the students choosing the claim that best supported the question from that information where they had a choice of claims, or they also had to choose one or two evidences that supported the claim from that information. And again, they had a list of choices. So this year, that's what I'm doing. Hi, I'm Christy. I'm a middle school science teacher with 25 years experience in the classroom, and I love helping other teachers empower their students to take more ownership of their learning. So this year, what I'm going to do to start off my claim, evidence, reasoning information, which we do all year long, is I'm actually going to provide them sentence choices. So the first 2 or 3 claim, evidence, reasoning practice problems we're going to do, I'm going to actually provide different sentences for them to choose from to help the students see what an actual good claim is and why the other ones aren't as useful to use. Now, of course, I'm always going to start off with helping my students understand how to find the questions, how to pull the information from the passage, and how to analyze that diagram, data table, and graph, because they still need help with that. So once that is done and I've gone ahead and I've pulled out the information from the text, we've gone through the diagrams or the graphs, we've identified the question, then what we're going to do is we're going to take that information they have, they're going to look at their graphic organizers where we write down our evidence and reasonings that we gained from this information. And then I'm going to provide them different choices. And we'll start off with the claim. So for the claim, I'm going to provide them 4 different choices that they can choose from to answer that question. And their job is to work together, work in pairs, to figure out which sentence best answers that question. But we're not stopping there, because the way that we learn the best is through our mistakes. So we need to justify why that claim is the best one to use and why the other ones aren't as good to use. So the next step they're going to do is they're going to go ahead, they're going to write down which one they chose, but then they have to go through all the other 3 claims. They have to write the claim out and explain why they didn't choose that claim. What was wrong with it? Was it actually incorrect? Was it missing some information? Because what I find was sometimes my students write an answer, they write their claim, but if the question was not there, no one would actually know what the heck they're talking about because they don't include some key words from the question. So I want them to get used to doing that, looking at the questions, looking at the claim itself, and seeing, okay, why did that one not make sense? What was wrong with it? What could we improve upon it? Once we have our claim, then I'm going to provide them different evidence choices. And they'll have a lot of different ones to choose from. And again, different choices. They're going to be looking at them. And I have probably about 8 choices, maybe 6 to 8 choices of evidences. And I want them to choose 2. The 2 best evidences that support the claim. Notice I said the best, because some of the evidence that I'm providing for them actually would work, but they wouldn't work as well as another one. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through that, again, working in pairs or groups. They're going to choose the 2. We'll discuss this as a class. Once we've then decided on which 2, again, they have to go through and justify why those ones were the best and not the others. What was wrong with the others? So we're going to come through and we're going to write down the different ones. They'll choose the ones they said were the best, and then they have to go through every single of the other evidence sentences and look at and say what was wrong with them. Now, some of them, they could have the actual right information from the graph, but maybe they don't include the data information, the numbers. Maybe they said that the coral decreased in numbers, but they didn't actually give the numbers, which would provide more strong evidence of how you knew it was decreased. Or maybe they had the numbers, but they didn't explain where they got that data from. They have to actually talk about where they get the information. It's good to have that knowledge, not only what the information is, how you know it, so the numbers are super important, and then also where that information comes from. So they're going to go through every single one of those evidence sentences to figure out, was the information correct? Was it incorrect? What parts are missing from this evidence sentence? Finally, we move on to the reasoning. And once again, they will be given different choices of reasoning. So I have my different choices of reasoning here. And they're going to go through and they're going to then choose which reasoning sentences link the evidence to the claim. Now, here's the thing. All of those reasoning sentences come directly from that reading passage, which means that it's true information. However, not all of those reasoning sentences actually link the evidence to the claim. And that's what I want my students to understand. It's not just about stating scientific facts. It's about stating scientific facts that actually link the evidence to the claim. So with this one, again, they're going to go through, we're going to work together as pairs or groups. They're going to decide which two reasoning sentences are the best fit to link that evidence to the claim. And then just like the other ones, because again, we learn the best by learning through mistakes, they have to justify why those two reasoning ones are the best and then what's wrong with the other ones. So they're going to go through, they're going to write it down, and they're going to explain what is the incorrect part. And many times they'll just talk about how what I'm hoping they'll get is that although that information is a true statement from the passage, it does not link the evidence to the claim because it's talking about something else entirely different, or it's saying the wrong information. So that's what I want them to get from this. Now, once they've done that, they've chosen the claim sentence, they've chosen two evidence sentences, they've chosen two reasoning sentences, they've justified why those ones are the ones that are the best fit and what are some little small mistakes with the other ones. We have to then put it together, because using those choices, if you just wrote them together as one sentence after another, it's not going to flow well. It's not going to make sense. So then we talk about grammar and sentence structure with this one. Yes, I know. It's like we're English teachers, but that's the whole thing, right? As scientists, we need to actually be able to say what we mean in a nice, concise way that makes sense. So they'll take that information, they're going to put it all together, putting one sentence after another, but adding transition words, maybe transition sentences, maybe changing some of the words to make it flow together and putting it together as one paragraph. And I figure this is going to take a day or two, especially at the beginning. I plan on going slow. But remember, we go slow to go fast later on. And I'm hoping that with taking the time to actually give them the structures, to break it down, to provide actual possible sentence choices in the beginning for the first 2 or 3 practice problems, that when we're ready to move on to that 3rd or 4th practice problem, that's when I can bring out the sentence structures, the sentence frames, and they can start putting it together, and I can just I can just refer back to our activities where we had to choose sentences and talk about why we chose some and why we didn't choose the others, and what was important to have in our claim and our evidence and our reasoning sentences. And they can use that as a springboard to their success of writing more claim evidence reasoning. And from there, we'll just practice once a week. I like to have my students practice breaking down a passage, a graph, a diagram, and writing a claim evidence reasoning at least once a week, because I feel that that really helps reinforce how to actually write scientific explanations. And by the time they get to that state test at the end, because I have 8th graders and we take the 8th grade NGSS state test, which covers all three of the grades, all three grade standards, by then they are confident, they know what they're doing, and they're able to write really good scientific explanations using the claim evidence reasoning paragraph. Let me know what you think. Don't forget that if you find this video helpful and informative, to like, share, and hit that notification for more videos just like this. Have a wonderful day.